Thank you for joining us. This is Brutally Honest Talk Radio. This is Elmo the Conservative. Sitting next to me is Ingrid, Podcast Queen. We're glad to have you with us. And we talk about politics and social issues on this show. This is the most funny you will have on a political podcast this week. Ingrid, how you doing? What's going on?
Doing great. It's a beautiful day. We're heading into spring and excited about that. Before we get started, let me let you guys know where you can find us. We are at Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, obviously, and wherever you are, we are. So don't forget to follow us and also hit that subscribe button on YouTube. We're also on podcasts at iHeartRadio, Spotify. Again, wherever you get your podcasts, that's where we are as well. So we would love to get those reviews from you. For a video that we did last week, thank you guys so much for your comments and your support. We really appreciate it, and we read every single comment. So we look forward to interacting with you more. And here we go.
Yes, and share away. We hope you find value in the show. So what we're going to talk about today, starting off, is going to be this thing about, I'm sure most of you have heard, that the government or certain people in government want to cancel TikTok. This is one of the biggest social media platforms. Everybody's familiar with it. We use it, where it's about 2-3 minutes or less on the average of videos that are entertaining. There's all kinds of videos, some of them informational. So yeah, you're aware of TikTok. So let me read to you something that I found from the New York Times. And for those of you that may not be aware, and then we'll discuss it. So this is basically saying, why are governments banning TikTok? It all comes down to China. Lawmakers and regulators in the West have increasingly expressed concern that TikTok and its parent company, ByteDance, may put sensitive user data like location information into the hands of the Chinese government. They have pointed to laws that allow the Chinese government to secretly demand data from Chinese companies and citizens for intelligence gathering operations. They are also worried that China could use TikTok's content recommendations for misinformation, a concern that has escalated in the United States during the Israel-Hamas war. Critics say that TikTok has fueled the spread of anti-Semitism and promoted pro-Palestinian content to American users. And we'll stop there.
Okay.
So I'll let you start with, whatever you think about this and how much of a threat it may actually be.
Yeah, we're on TikTok, and I know I use it a lot for work. The way I feel about it is that TikTok is just like any other social media. I can understand the government banning it, but at the same time, when do we get into overreach? The government is saying that you can't use it, or we're going to take it off of this particular store, or that sort of thing. But when is it the responsibility of the individual to decide and determine whether or not they want to use TikTok or any other social media app? And as far as I know, Google sells a lot of our information as well. So I don't know that it's going to China. I'm not going to say that about Google. But at the same time, a lot of our information is being sold, and, there we have it.
Yeah, and do you believe that China, this ByteDance and TikTok are putting spyware when you install it on your phone, when you download it and install it, that it puts some kind of spyware or something for them to then burrow into it and get personal information?
They may be. I mean, I don't know. I can't say they are or are not. But at a certain point, it becomes the responsibility of the individual to decide how they want their information used. And I know that was a big thing several years ago with Facebook and Cambridge Analytica about them selling information and that sort of thing. So, I don't know. I know in terms of politically, I think conservatives, Republicans, everything should be on TikTok. And I say that because early on, we ceded Facebook to them when Facebook first came out. we've been seeding all of these social medias because we're like, no, you can't be on Facebook, you can't do this, you can't do that. But at the same time, you have liberal organizations and all these other organizations that are getting a foothold into the younger generation because this is where the younger generation is. They're on TikTok, they're on the socials, that sort of thing. So I don't know, I'm kind of back and forth with this, but I think it's ultimately the decision of the individual. In terms of, I think the government or Congress asked one of the owners or the major primary owners if he would cede some of the share or investment or whatever over to American companies. I don't know. I don't know. I'm still I'm back and forth about that.
Was that the same hearing that I saw a few months ago, where it's basically this guy from China representing TikTok that was speaking before Congress?
Yes.
And they were he was very, very articulate. I think he's from and lives in China, but was very clear and calmly answering their questions about it. So and I've worked in IT a lot over the last 25 years. I don't know enough about this. Of course, things are always evolving. But do you think that there's a possibility that if I'm reckless or irresponsible with my TikTok, and let's say I install on my phone or do whatever to make myself vulnerable for them to come in and hack my information, can them getting into my computer then get into my neighbor or really on the internet, somebody else that I'm connected to or interact with?
Yeah, I don't know. I know there's one feature on there that says that TikTok will be able to, giving them permission to access all of your contacts.
Yeah.
And that I'm not comfortable with. No one needs to have access to all my contacts. And they do that so you can grow your followers and that sort of thing, get viral, blah, blah, blah. But that I'm not comfortable with.
I've seen that a lot, but I usually just dismiss it. We see that with many different websites, and honestly, sometimes I'll say block, sometimes say allow, where it can be going to Target or whatever the website is, and they say they want to know your location.
Right.
But like, why do you need to know? I mean, you want to know what kind of a consumer I am. Like, why do you need to know my zip code?
Right.
And be able to drill down on me like enemy of the state.
Right.
And then I'm not want to look up because of satellites and scared the government's going to see my face.
Right. Yeah, I don't know, because the thing that's most valuable to us is our data, our information. Yeah. That's I've heard said that, and I think I watched the movie. It's called, oh goodness, either The Social Network or Coded Bias or something like that. But in the gist, it says we have our real world self, and then we have our digital self. And everything that we do online is either tracked, recorded, analyzed, that sort of thing. So they have a digital you as well. So I guess this comes into the argument, or can we or should we be able to control our digital selves just like we're able to have agency in our real lives? So
now, here's a fact that I heard years ago that you might find fascinating and also scary. Is that every text message that has ever been sent from any phone is on a server somewhere by the government. Or, let me be more specific. So, AT&T, MCI, Sprint, these different cell phone companies, they are warranted by the government to keep a record of and to back up every text that's sent. So, we delete it from our phones, of course. We're never going to see it again. But they are required to have a server with all of this. And I think the number one reason is for it to be submitted as evidence if necessary. Because sometimes people, they don't just incriminate themselves or implicate themselves on the phone talking. Sometimes the text messages are saying, okay, you ready? We ready to get them? All right, I'll be there in 10 minutes. I'll be on the corner of Elm and 3rd. And, implicate themselves that way. And that, they those text messages have timestamps on them.
yes.
So just that I had heard just yesterday, I think, on the radio, this sound clip, the actual audio footage of some reporter was asking Kamala Harris, because Biden and Harris are on board with this, and just saying, you guys want to get rid of TikTok, but you have a TikTok account.
Right.
So what's going to happen with that?
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
And then she started off saying, so let me lead with this.
It's interesting. Yeah, I don't know. I think it remains to be seen. But, Facebook, Instagram, Threads, Twitter probably not so much because it's been taken over by Elon Musk, which was a very good move.
I'm so glad.
Yes. He's
I still call it Twitter.
Guy. Still call it Twitter.
Not
X is
Yeah.
Twitter. But he's a First Amendment guy. Snapchat, I know, is still out there. I'm not sure. I think from what I've read, it's still pretty popular. Still rather popular.
Now, Snap has 2 or 3 variations now. Also, they got something that's similar to Foursquare.
Okay.
With you let people into your network. Let's say it's 4 or 5 people, and then you can all find each other.
Right.
But you really want to trust whoever it is. So it should be for family and close friends if you're going to do this.
Right.
And then I just want to go back and reiterate something that I said before. I go to TikTok. We have a TikTok account through my computer. I don't go to it through my phone. I never installed it on my phone. I think when you install it, when you download it, that's where you really open the door.
Right.
So I never install or have needed to download anything. I upload.
Yeah.
I go to the site and I'm able to view other people's accounts and videos, but I haven't installed it, and for that reason. Because I would not be surprised. I wouldn't put it past the Chinese. I mean, communist countries, they're all in businesses.
Right.
They control, and businesses can't do anything without their permission.
Correct.
So I wouldn't be surprised if they summon a company like TikTok. I mean, they were bold enough to fly a balloon over here.
Got away with it. Got away with it.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's interesting. I'm not sure. With TikTok and the rest. So it'll be interesting to see how it pans out. I can understand governments wanting to ban them, maybe on folks who are high level, that sort of thing. I can understand that because they might have a lot of information on their phone. Right. Text or communications or emails or that sort of thing that can be compromised.
If you work for the government, you definitely shouldn't be able to have TikTok.
Well, I don't know.
And I'm curious what other governments, what other countries have also been talking about that.
That's a good question.
It's obviously, a concern worldwide now.
Right. It is. It's a good question.
So there you have it. We'll hear more about it. The other thing I wanted us to talk about, there was a tragic story that happened in Houston, Texas, with a family or some kids and an adult getting out of a car in their apartment complex, and there's a toddler, 1-year-old, and they did not have the girl's hand. So everybody got out, and there's video of this. They kind of expected her to follow, and unfortunately, there was a big SUV. I don't know what model it was or what brand, but it was like the size of a Navigator. Yeah. And I think it was an Uber driver, but the driver just started to slowly move and take off and did not see this girl, and rode over her. So we're gonna play some of this video now, just so y'all can hear the story and get familiar with it. And I encourage you to see the video if we just have the audio here. But anyway, we're going to share this now and then discuss it.
We want to warn you, his report contains information and video that may be deeply disturbing to some viewers.
That little girl was getting out of the Uber with her family. They were walking towards their apartment building, the girl walking right in front of the SUV. Now, the driver couldn't see this little girl, not even 2 years old, over the hood of his SUV. He thought he was in the clear as the family was walking away, so he moved forward and ran right over this toddler.
I just heard a lot of commotion outside, and I just came outside and I just seen like blood and a baby laying on the ground.
It's a sight burned into her brain. The child ran over and pinned under the Uber, but it's also one that she's relived more times than she'd ever expected to.
I just rewatched it after everything happened.
Her security camera capturing this video. The moment this little girl walks in front of the SUV, and the moment she was run over and killed. A moment that's so graphic, we've decided against sharing the video.
It was just so traumatic because I was just thinking about my baby, you know, my son or anybody else's kids. It was just so, I couldn't do it. I couldn't even.
But it's this video that's helping the Harris County Sheriff's Office piece together the puzzle of what happened here on Sunday, including the seconds right after, where you can see the family trying to help free the girl. And less than 30 seconds later, an all-out attack on the Uber driver. Several people pulling him out of his SUV and unleashing punch after punch.
He's in serious condition, you know, non-life-threatening, but serious.
The family getting the girl in a car and meeting an ambulance nearby, but it was too late. The 1-year-old girl died at the hospital.
It's just sad to watch and to know because I see her outside almost every other day playing with her little toys and stuff, and just to know that happened to that little baby.
We also know that the people you see in this video aren't the girl's parents. The Harris County Sheriff's Office saying they had to tell them their little girl was gone.
It's just an unfortunate tragedy at this point.
Both the driver and the group that attacked him have not been charged yet. However, that doesn't rule out charges coming at some point down the road. However, the focus right now is preventing any tragedy like this from ever happening again. HCSO saying to parents, please keep an eye on your children, and if you can, just simply hold their hand. I'm reporting in North Harris County, Gage Golding, KPRC2 News.
Yeah, and so I got some clarification on that story. They were getting out of the Uber vehicle, was the same vehicle that rolled over the girl. And in the video, you can see they're 15, 20 feet in front of this girl, this 1-year-old, and she's like 2 feet tall.
Right.
So the first thing is when you have children that young, like under 5 years old, do not let go of their hand. Unless you're on a playground or in a play area, someplace where there are no cars driving. If there's grass, if there's concrete, then there's a possibility that somebody can be driving over it. And then even on sidewalks, little children, they don't know borders and barriers like adults, so they can just veer off and in a second, they're full of energy. They could take off and start running. But that's the main thing. And these were not her parents. I don't know the situation why the girl wasn't with her parents, but if I have someone else's children and let's say I'm the uncle or friend and I have them in my possession for 3 hours, I am responsible for their lives during that time.
Absolutely, absolutely. It's a terrible situation. I, as a SUV driver, I don't believe the Uber driver did it intentionally. I know if you're in a big SUV like a Navigator, I'm in a Jeep. Even in a Jeep, it's hard to see a 2-year-old either in front or behind or beside the car. Right. So. I'm not sure what the Uber driver's reaction was afterwards. If he even knew he hit anyone, he might not have known. Okay, he stopped
because he felt it.
Gotcha.
And then I don't know if it was in this video or another one, but at some point, the report was saying that the driver stopped. When he felt something that he had rolled over, and it's after that. And then they tried to remove and save the girl, but she was stuck. So that sounds like the wheel might have been on top of her. Been on top, which it would have been better if he had gone completely over and kept rolling.
Right. So the weight of the vehicle isn't on her chest.
Right. And we're talking about, 2,500 pounds.
Yes. It would be a lot for an adult.
Yeah.
Much less a little one.
Right.
Yeah, that's devastating, and I agree. My coworker and I were talking. No, it was a coworker. Yeah, and I were talking about this the other day, and she's saying that when she gets married and she has kids, if the If the dad is either way in front or way behind the kid, then there's going to be hell to pay. And I can say, I understand that. I totally do, because they're little ones. They don't know. So as adults, it's our responsibility to teach them those boundaries that you just mentioned and teach them kind of what works and what doesn't. So, and I don't know if you remember this, you probably do. Remember when parents used to have a kind of leash, they called it a leash, on them and then on their kids.
Right.
That I don't have a problem with, because you can keep up with them. They're always in reach, that sort of thing, and to prevent these kinds of accidents from
And I don't see
happening.
those anymore.
I don't either.
But
I
they
don't
used to
either.
have them 20 years ago,
They certainly do.
and it's fine. It's not around their neck. It's,
No,
it's
on
around the
their
wrist.
It's on their, and it's on the parents' wrists.
Yeah.
So they're right there. Yeah. And even, I remember being a kid. I wasn't necessarily a short kid. I had been a short kid for a very long time. But I would walk with my parents. We would hold hands or whatever until I was like maybe 10 or 11. And at that time I was 5'9", 6th grade, all that sort of stuff. But I'm still with my parents because it's still the mind of a child.
Right.
So
right.
said all that to say, even though especially with this one, but even though the kid may be taller or whatever, it's still a kid. So you've got to kind of gauge that, use that as some kind of, as a gauge to say, I still need to.
People are
hang out with
so
kids.
distracted and on their phones,
Yes.
and they're carrying something from the soul food place. They got a container, and then you bring in purses or other things, and it's like, get your priorities straight.
Please.
Because I don't blame this girl at all, and I agree with what you said about the driver. So he has to live with that for the rest of his life. Even though the guardian was irresponsible. So what was he thinking? As soon as he realized, because, I don't know, like somebody was screaming or making a commotion, maybe that's when he stopped, or when he felt the vehicle roll over the girl. But as soon as he realized what happened, I would have gone into shock.
You're right.
Especially someone so young.
Yes.
And then, this is on video also, there's 3 or 4 people that run over to the driver and start pummeling him and hitting him with punches as if it was intentional.
Right.
Or like he was drunk driving or something.
Yeah. And
So, and that's wrong.
it is.
Like, why don't we, the first confrontation should be with the adults who were responsible for her.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Wow. That's, oh boy, it's tragic. Yeah, he's got to live with this for the rest of his life, and that's a lot.
I mean, other people are affected by it too. I'm sure the parents are devastated.
Yes.
But for him to be the one who was driving a vehicle, he's got to live with that. And so it is tragic. And I just want this to be the number one takeaway for people, is to just hold your child's hand, like she was saying, until she was 11 years old. Hold their hand, and you got to be thinking. You got to be looking around you and thinking, what if? Judging the speed of vehicles, if there's any moving, and also what your child could possibly do. So this is just something that I caught on the internet. There's all these videos of local news that come on YouTube that you would never see on television because it's only local. So this happened in Houston. Even though we live in Georgia, I was able to see this. So just putting it out there. People can learn from this. And also just want to say that the parents and everyone who knew this girl, that you have my sympathy. I can only imagine what it is like to go through the whole ordeal, going to the hospital and seeing your daughter, seeing a girl in that condition.
Yeah, absolutely. Parents, put your phone down, pick your child's hand up. Just put the phone down. Don't be distracted. Don't be distracted. What's more important is what is in front of you as opposed to who and what is on that phone.
Yeah.
And so with that, on that note, thank you guys for listening to this episode of Brutally Honest Talk Radio. We appreciate your time, your attention. Thank you for spending your day with us. I don't know if you guys can see this, but we have also tumblers. that are available. So if you like a tumbler, leave a comment leave a comment below. This one says Christian by the grace of God, American by birth. And these are just flowers tumblers. So these are available as well. So if you like one, just let us know.
Do
We'd
they
love to hear
hold?
from you.
Do they keep cold drinks cold and hot drinks hot?
They certainly do. 20 ounces.
What?
And it's summertime, guys. You need your water. So go ahead and
Yes.
get these. Yes. So thank you so much. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Also follow us on the socials. We would love to hear from you. And until we're back next time, you guys take care.
Take care. Thanks again for checking us out. We'll see you next time.